Many more X-Men than you think have also been Avengers. As a longtime and fan favorite Omega level mutant and member of the X-Men, Storm is a force of nature. She's had many different roles: goddess, queen, leader, mentor, teacher, Thor, and even a member of the Fantastic Four, but her most notable title is X-Man. She has been on the X-Men team since 1975 and has rarely ever stopped doing that. But even with all those different titles, she still found some time to also be an Avenger. In the period between the Superhuman Civil War and Avengers vs. X-Men, Black Panther had recommended Storm to Captain America, who was looking to replenish the ranks of the Avengers team, and she played a good role in that team's fight against Norman Osborn, Hammer, and his Dark Avengers. But once the Avengers decided to try and confront the X-Men because of Hope Summers and the Phoenix Force, Storm left in disgust. But funnily enough, where Storm refused to fight her fellow X-Men, not all mutants felt the same way, and one of them was Hank McCoy Beast. As most fans of the X-Men know, Beast was one of the original mutants to ever be on the X-Men, and he's stayed on some version of the team almost ever since, except for when he was an Avenger and a Defender. Beast first applied to be an Avenger back in 1975 in Avengers 137 alongside Moondragon, and he stayed on the Avengers for a rather sizable amount of time. Although he obviously still worked with the X-Men, he properly returned back to them in the 90s and then again went back to Steve Rogers' Secret Avengers, and then weirdly enough, when the Avengers vs. X-Men event took place, Beast sided with the Avengers, mainly because of the militant way that Cyclops had been trying to protect the remaining mutants after M-Day. Angelica Jones, also known as Firestar, has the awesome mutant ability of microwave energy manipulation and generation. Basically, she uses the Earth's magnetic field and converts it into microwave radiation, and she also absorbs microwave radiation from her environment and from stars in the galaxy. She can then focus this energy at targets to do a whole bunch of different things. Now, Angelica first appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 193 in February of 1985, but crucially, she was actually a villain. She was loyal to Emma Frost and her school for mutants and would be on the Hellions, the New Warriors, the Young Allies, and also had a lengthy run on the Avengers before she ever even joined the X-Men in Amazing X-Men Volume 2 number 1 in 2013. And she has been in different iterations of the X-Team since, even serving as their secret double agent with Orchis during the current Fall of X event. Shiro Yoshida, otherwise known as Sunfire, is the premier superhero of Japan in Marvel Comics. Sunfire is an incredibly powerful mutant with the power to manipulate solar radiation. He can fly, produce plasma blasts, plasma shields, and generate plasma temperatures of around 1 million degrees Fahrenheit. His powers are fairly similar to those of Johnny Storm. Now, Shiro Yoshida is fiercely patriotic, usually choosing to fight for his country over most other teams, but that being said, as a mutant, he has found himself invited to become a member of the X-Men by Professor X, and has worked with them many times, although his actual tenure on the team was pretty short-lived. However, in Uncanny Avengers number 5, following a failed mission, Shiro was invited onto the Avengers Unity Squad by Wolverine, and accepted the position after finding out about the way that the Red Skull had been violating Charles Xavier's brain. Eden Fessy, aka Manifold, is a mutant with the insanely godlike ability to manipulate space itself, which he most often uses as a teleporter. He was the student to another mutant teleporter known as Gateway, and first appeared as an incredibly underrated hero in Jonathan Hickman and Brian Michael Bendis' Secret Warriors series, alongside a group of other legacy heroes recruited by Nick Fury in 2009. But following with writer Jonathan Hickman, Manifold joined the Avengers in Avengers Volume 5 in 2014 and 2015, as the Avengers expanded to a galactic scope, and Manifold, as a space teleporter, was pretty instrumental in some of their galaxy-wide conflicts, and he even sacrificed himself during Secret Wars. Thankfully though, he was brought back and has become one of the most powerful and versatile mutants, going on to join with the X-Men Red Team. He may be more well known for being an Avenger, but as a mutant he is often more aligned with the values of the X-Men. Next up, Roberto da Costa, the mutant who also goes by Sunspot, first ever joined the Avengers, accepting Captain America's offer alongside the mutant Cannonball. Now, Roberto stepped into the role of a comedic money man pretty smoothly and got the team out of quite a few problematic moments. It's arguable to say that he really stepped into his own as an Avenger when he brought the whole of AIM and used the organization to create his own Avengers team in New Avengers Volume 4, and then again in US Avengers. His time as an Avenger actually brought him out of C-list territory, but he really got his start as a New Mutant, with his mutant powers bringing him into the crosshairs of mutant-hating extremists. From there, he would go on to become a member of X-Force, the X-Men, the Great Ring of Morocco, and only after being an ex-hero did he ever do anything for the Avengers. Dazzler, otherwise known as Allison Blair, is a mutant pop star with the ability to transduce sound into light. She can take any source of sound other than her voice, unless it's projected back at her, as light energy, which she stores up and can use it in a bunch of really cool ways. Now, she is often overlooked when talking about powerful mutants, but Dazzler is actually pretty high up there in terms of power, and she can do a heck of a lot with her powers. Kind of like Sunfire, Dazzler does have other priorities and was somewhat resistant to joining superhero teams. She only reluctantly joined the X-Men in Uncanny X-Men number 214 in 1986, despite being sought after by a bunch of different superhuman factions for several years. As for the Avengers though, Dazzler was telepathically forced to join the team by Moondragon in Avengers 211, but she soon left after that was revealed. She declined offers to join from then, and the closest I think she ever got since then was when she was S.H.I.E.L.D.'s chief in mutant affairs. But correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, because I totally could be. Next up is Emma Frost, and Emma Frost, as most of you know, is an Omega class telepath and has been around for a hot minute in Marvel Comics, starting off as a villain and the White Queen of the Hellfire Club. After the tragic loss of her Hellions changed her heart, Frost formed a partnership with Professor Xavier. Putting her love for teaching to good use, she became the co-headmistress of Xavier's school, and after the Genoshan massacre, she became a strong and almost unwavering member of the X-Men. Emma was kind of a big deal in the Avengers vs. X-Men conflict, as she became one of the Phoenix Five before eventually being defeated by pretty much everyone else. Now, while Emma hasn't been a part of the mainline Avengers, she was on a team called the Cosmic Avengers. Pulled together by Loki during 2018's Infinity Warps, this team also consisted of Miss Marvel, Kang the Conqueror, Ant-Man, and the Hulk, and they came together to try and stop Gamora from destroying literally everything. After the schism of the X-Men, Wolverine took Kid Omega, aka Quentin Quire, to the New Mutant School that he opened up. In a relatively short amount of time, Quentin stopped being a problematic bully and became a more well-rounded character, and now he is someone I think is actually kind of cool. He still stayed a bit of a rebel and a narcissistic jerk, which ended up becoming a fun aspect of his personality, funnily enough. It was after that, and after being a part of Jubilee's X-Men team, that Quire finally got on an Avengers team. Now, Quentin entered into a contract to film a reality television show about his team of heroes, except he totally did not actually have a team. He saw that Hawkeye was looking to reform the West Coast Avengers, and so he moved to Venice, California and invited himself to join them in exchange for the reality show bankrolling the team's operations, which is just a hilarious way to become an Avenger. And last up today, Raven Darkholme, also known as the shapeshifting Mystique, is probably one of the most conflicted and mysterious mutants out there. With her ability to disguise herself as other people, she has been all over the place, but also as a mutant who has been alive for a long time. She was an adult in the 19th century, but her origins are actually not really known beyond that, meaning she could have been anywhere. She is probably most well known as a villain working and leading the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, among many other villainous groups, but at the same time, being such a complex individual, she has also been on many heroic teams as well, first ever joining her fellow mutants on the X-Men in Uncanny X-Men number 171, although that and a few of her other subsequent attempts at being on the team ended in her being booted from the team. As for the Avengers, during the Axis event, Mystique's morality switched and she became noble and self-sacrificing. Mystique tried to make the inverted X-Men see reason and stop their attempts to take over New York City. Now, she failed, but she was recruited by Steve Rogers to be a part of the Astonishing Avengers, a group of now good villains formed to stop both the conquering X-Men and the fascist Avengers. But that, nerds, is the list. Thank you guys so much for watching today on Top 10 Nerd. I'm Adam Andrews. I will catch you all on the flippity flop, but until then, stay safe and peace out, nerds.